Evam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanura Mardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Tvameva Mata Cha Pita Tvameva Tvameva Bandhusya Sakha Tvameva Tvameva Vidya Dravidam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Namadeva Deva Tvameva Sarvam Gurudeva Deva. Hari Om. We are doing the Panchadashi of 13th chapter of Vidyaranya Swami. The title is Brahmanandi Atmanandaha. How everything came from Atma. So knowing Atma is same as knowing Brahman. So Atmananda is same as Brahmananda. So in that process, so when Atma is the one that from which it came, it preserves the properties of Atma, plus additionally you get this, the name and a form related to the objects. So every object is only name and a form. Vacharambalam vikaraha. So what is there? Pure Brahman, which is Satchidanandam, and it is reflected in the every object. So and here giving example of every object has all these five, and Asti Bhati Priyam Sat Chit Ananda. So these three are coming from the Brahman, and Nama Rupa, the name and coming from the world, and here is applying to all the five elements, plus additionally by Panchikaranam, grossification, creation, 14 lokas and all that, and how from the earth the plant kingdom has come, and the farm kingdom, the animal kingdom, and all the way to the Purushaha. That's how Taittiriya Upanishad says that Atmana Akasha Sambhutaha Akashat Vayuhu Vayo Agnihi Agni Apaha Abja Prithvi Prithivya Oshadayaha Oshadibhyo Annam Annat Purushaha. So Sava Eva Purusha. So all the way up to Purusha is coming from starting from Atma. So every object as it comes through is only a superficial attributive Nama Rupa only, because the whole world is Nama Rupa. So Nama and Rupa, name and a form, that means attribute. There is no substantive. Substantive is coming from the Atma, which is Satchidananda. So every one as it comes, it has a particular properties that it picks up. In the Akasha, its properties, its accommodatability, that means it can accommodate, and that's a property of the space. Vayuhu, it can move and then has a contact. Sita Mushnam also is the Sparsa. So Sabda Sparsa is also, touch is also coming, and then Swadha Sparsa Rupa. Agni has all the above two, plus in addition to that Rupam, a form, and Swadha Sparsa Rupa. Then when it comes to the water, Rasa is also, without the water you cannot taste anything. If it is dry you cannot, unless you have saliva you cannot taste anything. So Rasam coming from the liquid part, from the Jalam property, in addition to all other things also are there. And when you go to the earth, you have previous four properties plus the additional property of the smell. So these are called asadharanam, not common to everybody, but picking up a special for each one. So that is asadharana. So 77 we chant again. We didn't chant properly, so we'll chant again. Asadharana akara, asadharana akara, ashadyanna vapushapi, ashadyanna vapushapi, evam vibhavyam manasa, evam vibhavyam manasa, tattat rupam yadhochitam, tattat rupam yadhochitam. Together. Asadharana akara ashadyanna vapushapi evam vibhavyam manasa tattat rupam yadhositam. So oshadhihi anna vapuhu. So the ashadhi become oshadhi. Oshadhi anna vapuhu. In the oshadhi, in plant, anna food, and vapu in the body, etc. Api even there. Asadharanaha, the special qualities of akaraha or the space, and evam, in this way every one has its special property. In fact, every object has its special property to distinguish that object from the other object. That's how we define any object in science also. A definition of an object is that which makes it to, which can be used to distinguish that object from the anything else. So that's called the particular objects. Evam vibhavyam. And even in this way, yatha ujitam, in a proper way, each one we have to see tat rupam, in that appropriate the properties are there, and manasa, by the mind, vibhavyam, should be understood. So mind will understand by the sense organs, senses, it picks up the sabda swarsa rupa rasa gandha, particular properties, but in every particular property, asti bhati priyam is also there. So if you remove nama rupa, what is there is only the essence, and that's a very important aspect here. This is how the perception also has to be understood, and those who are interested, we said you can go to Vedanta Paribhasha. 78. Anekadha vibhinneshu namarupeshu chaikadha tishtanti satchidananda visambado na kasyachit. Together, anekada vibhinneshu namarupeshu chaikadha tishtanti satchidananda visambado na kasyachit. So anekada, in many ways, vibhinneshu, there are different varieties and varieties. Namarupeshu, in the names and forms of every object, in the names and forms. Cha satchit anandaha, this one is remaining constant across. Ekadha, that is only one. Tishtanti, it's always there as a very substantive. The nakasyachit visambadaha, this cannot be contradicted by anybody, says. So because it has to exist, and it's in my consciousness for me to be conscious of the existence of the object. So existence and consciousness is joined together, and the mind itself, as it is, in that it is calm and serene, therefore there is no, it's a happiness only all the time. But only my value system on top of it is projected, makes it I like, dislikes, etc. That's where the problem is coming from. My likes and dislikes or vasanas are projected on top of the Ishvara Srishti. That's where the sukham dukkham is coming. Otherwise, it's a pure Satchidananda. And nakasya achitu visamvadaha. No one can deny that. So in every object there are five. That's what this is. Asti bhati priyam, sat chit ananda. And nama rupa is extra one that keeps changing for different things and different. This is where differences are. These are common factor. This doesn't change. This is changing, and the changing things only for an attributive. But for me to know that it has to be in my consciousness, and it has to exist, and it has by itself the Ananda Swarupam, unless it is perturbed by the likes and dislikes. Wow. 79. Nistatve nama rupe dve janmanasayite chate Buddhya brahmani vikshasya samudre buddhadivat together. Nistatve nama rupe dve janmanasayite chate buddhya brahmani vikshasya samudrai buddhadivat. So dve nama rupe. These are the two things that keep changing. Dve. One is nama and rupa. So both names and forms, nistatve, are not really real. So there are five aspects we said. Nama, rupa, plus on top of Sachidananda. But the one that is not really real, so what is real is only Sachidananda, that is Brahman. And therefore everything is nothing but Brahman only appearing as many. So nistatve nama rupe dve. So because of nistatvam, there is no nisatvam. Nisatvam. Nisatve. There is no absolute sattvam. Sat aspect of it is not there. Therefore reality is not there. Not nistatvam. Nisatvam. So it is no pure existence is not there. It's only appears to be there. These two, Janma Nasaitu. Therefore, they keep coming and changing because they are not permanent. The Nama Rupa. If I change in ring into bangle, Nama is gone, Rupa is gone. So another Rama and another Rupa is there. So therefore, they are continuously changing. Buddhya by the intellect, Vikshasya, one comes to know this, that the things that are changing are not real. The thing that is eternal, that is permanent, is the Satchid Ananda only. So, Brahmani in Brahman, Buddhya by intellect, which say one has to come to know by using the intellect. So, by intellectually I have to grasp that whatever is changing is not real, and that which is changeless substratum, which is imperceptible, has to be cognitively recognized. That has to be understood here. Buddh Adivatu. Know them by the intellectual analysis or projected in the Brahman, like bubbles in the ocean. So the rest is like a continuously changing, like a bubbles in the ocean. 80 sloka. Satchidananda rupesmin, Satchidananda rupesmin, Purne Brahmani Vikshate, Purne Brahmani Vikshate, Swayamevavajanati, Swayamevavajanati, Namarupe Shanashanaihi, Namarupe Shanashanaihi. Together, Satchidananda Rupesmin, Purne Brahmani Vikshite, Swayamevavajanati, Namarupe Shanashanaihi. So Satchidananda Rupe. So in the nature of Satchidananda, Purni, which is infinite, Asmin Brahmani, on this Brahman, this is the Brahman, Vichate, having realized Namarupe, names and forms, Swayameva, on his own, Shanaihi Avajananti. One disregards, once I pay attention to the more and more on the substantive Brahman, the other names and forms disappear slowly. That is what is a man of realization. Slowly disregards the name. So every name and form is only I can see, but I have to disregard it in order to recognize the substantive Brahman only. So slowly, Shanaihi, one gets established that Aham Brahmasmi knowledge, because in every knowledge of every object, these five things are there. The more I pay attention to Nama Rupa, I ignore that one. If I pay less and less attention to Nama Rupa, since it is going away, I pay attention to more on that Satchidananda, which is imperceptible but can be gained through proper analysis by hooking the mind to that. That is what self-realization is. Yavad javat avajnasyat, Yavad javat avajnasyat, Tavat ikshanam, Tavat ikshanam, Yavad javat vichyate sa, vichyate, Yavad javat vichyate, Tavat ubhechyate, Tavat ubhechyate. Very funny sloka here. Yavad avajnasyat, Tavat ikshanam, Yavad vichyate, Tavat ubhechyate. So yavat avajna, as much as one disregards syat, Tavat tavat tat ichanam. As long as one disregards the norm and disregards, because he is perceiving, at the same time disregards the changing things which are nama, tavat tavat, there then itself is that knowledge of the Brahman is ichanam, is recognized. It's both. When I am seeing the knowledge of the Brahman, automatically my mind is not paying attention to the changing names and forms. Only when I want to transact with the name and the forms, I pay attention to that. To that degree, I'll be transacting. But as soon as the transactions part is over, I'm going back to the essence of it. With the essential knowledge, I can transact to the degree possible. Just as I have essential knowledge that these electrons, protons and neutrons, and I keep that knowledge, but at the same time transact as required. If it's a garbage, I throw it. If it is a delicious food, I eat it. So there is no confusion in dealing with the names and forms, even though knowledge is samatvam. Essentially they are the same, only at the transaction level they are different. That is what to be understood. So yavad yavad vichyate. So the knowledge of the Brahman is vichyate, is realized. Tavat tavat ubhechaje. If I keep attention to as long as to the nama rupa, then tavat tavat ubhechaje. Slowly I have to give it up. This is the real sannyasa. So what is sannyasa is giving up the reality to the duality. That is real sannyasa, and to that extent I give up, to that extent I abide in the knowledge of Brahman. And to the extent I can, provided my likes and dislikes are neutralized, there is no question of likes and dislikes for me to get attached to the names and forms. So detachment comes because of lack of the likes and dislikes, and the more and the more I shift, the more and more the likes and dislikes get neutralized, and the more and more I can abide in that knowledge. 82. Tadabhyasena vidyayam, tadabhyasena vidyayam, sustitaya vayam puman, sustitaya vayam puman, jivan neva bhavit muktaha, jivan neva bhavit muktaha, vapurastu tadha tadha, vapurastu tadha tadha. Together, yadabhyasena vidyayam, sustitaya vayam puman, jivan neva bhavit muktaha, vapurastu tadha yadha tadha. So tad abhyasena, this has to be constantly practiced by the mind, because the mind is getting involved in the nama rupa. So one has to pull it out. How can I pull it out? By constantly reminding myself this is not really real and that is the real. So paying more and more attention to that. Unfortunately, when I'm transacting in the world, I have to pay attention to the nama rupa, because his name is different from the other fellow's name, and other fellow's name is this one. I cannot get confused between the people and all that, so I have to pay attention to the names and forms. But while paying attention to the norm, if I can recollect that everything is nothing but Brahman only, then I have a different attitude also in dealing with the people. But to the degree I can give it up after the transaction over without hanging on to that again, then I have the detachment and I can attach to myself. That's essentially tad abhyasena, by this constant practice, vidyayam, by the knowledge of knowing that that is Brahman is imperceptible, at the same time it is there in everything, just as I am there in the very perception. So vidyayam, knowledge. Sustidayam, it becomes firm and clear. I am this Puman, Jivan eva, while living, Muktaha, gets liberated, Bhavet. Vapuhu, body, Yadha Tada Astu. Let it exist whatever the condition of the body, because he recognizes the body is only Nama Rupa. So its properties and all that are within the realm of Nama Rupa, which is comes and goes, therefore that which gets destroyed, and therefore he doesn't pay attention to it. But what is the attention to be paid is the very existence is not going to change. The change of the body changes, existence of the body changes to something else. So that's a part of the nature. The matter doesn't get destroyed. So conservation of the matter is there. So all elements go back to the respective elements, and I am is back to myself, I am. So nothing is really wasted. But thinking that I am only this body in this form is a problem of notions have to be dropped. It's difficult to say it because when the body is having pains, it's difficult to pay attention to say this body is not mine, it's only a superficial, because the mind is pulling you back. Mind is not able to shift the attention to the truth because of the pain. So it's better to do it when the body is in the correct position, so that this can continue even when the body is having problems. 83. So what should I do then? How do I do constantly? Here the sloka, which was actually repeated, that Vidyaranya has quoted this before as the 106th of the 5th chapter or 6th chapter, and therefore he is repeating the same sloka. So you can see that this is an important sadhana. Tat Chintanam Tat Kathanam Tat Chintanam Tat Kathanam Anyoyam Tat Prabodhanam Anyoyam Tat Prabodhanam Etad Ekaparatvam Etad Ekaparatvam Cha Brahmabhyasam Viduh Buddha Brahmabhyasam Viduh Buddha. Together. Tat Chintanam Tat Kathanam Anyoyam Tat Prabodhanam Etad Ekaparatvam Cha Brahmabhyasam Viduh Buddha. So this Tat Chintanam, so constantly thinking about it, contemplation on the self. Tat Kathanam, discussing about the nature of that Atma. Anyonyam, with each other. Tat Prabodhanam, that teaching about this nature of the reality. Etad, this Ekaparatvam, engaged on this alone as the essence of life itself. Etad, this Ekaparatvam, engaged in that. Cha Buddha, a wise man. Brahma Abhyasam, practice of Brahman knowledge, is Viduhu. So people say that what do I have to do? Constantly Tat Chintanam, thinking about it, that alone. Tat Kathanam, talk about that alone. Anyonyam Tat Prabodhanam, discuss with these other people about the Brahman and the nature of this. And Etad Ekaparatvam, and constantly contemplating on that Ekaparatvam, that is one alone, that engaged in that alone. It's a Brahma Abhyasam. This is what the practice of Brahman is. Says with the Buddha, says Viduhu. This, the wise people say this is what you have to do. So how to Abhyasa? How Abhyasa removes my likes and dislikes is discussed in the next sloka. Vasana aneka kalina dirghakalam nirantaram sadaram chabhyasyamane sarvataiva nivartate. Together. Vasana aneka kalina dirghakalam nirantaram sadaram chabhyasyamane sarvataiva nivartate. So aneka kalina, for a long standing. Vasana, the impressions of the reality, because we not only in this life, life after life, these are strongly engraved in the mind. So dirghakalam, for a very long time, and nirantaram, without a break we have been doing it. Sadharancha, so with the revenge and the dedication one has to do. Abhyasamane, if you practice this, because the long rooted the vasanas can only get eliminated by constant and everlasting the constant practice of this only. So sadharamcha, with reverence and dedication. Abhyasyamane, having practice, sarvada, in all ways. Eva nivartate, certainly negated all the aspects of it, essentially. The the vasanas get eliminated by constantly practicing, because constantly we have, by doing the other way we accumulated, so it requires constant practice until we abide in the knowledge. How do we know we abide in the knowledge? That means the world contact will not bother us anymore, because we know it is not really real. That's what the test is in the Chandogya, where one fellow, they brought in to the king, saying that this fellow is circumstantial evidence shows that this fellow has stolen the property, but he says he has not stolen. We have no other way of proving or disproving, and therefore we brought him here. So the king asked him, have you stolen it? He said, no, I have not stolen it. I am not a thief. And then it's a question of his word, and the circumstantial is no one else has stolen. So what do we do? So how is king going to resolve the issue? So he said, bring a hot iron, red hot iron. They brought it. So he says, if you touch this, and if you are saying the truth, your hand will not get burned. But if you are not saying the truth, then you will be lying, therefore your hand gets burned. If you are lying means what you say is not true. That means you know, that means you are stealing, and what you say that I am not a thief is not right. So since you are stole, and you will be punished again, not only burning problem, you will be punished again, put in the jail. So are you ready to touch? He said, yeah, I have never lied. So the question is, this is a test for self-realization. It says, if you are self-realized, if you are free from likes, dislikes, so go and touch a red hot iron. If it burns, that means that you are not realized yet. Don't do it. But what it amounts to is, when a jnani makes a contact with the world, which is hot world, he doesn't get burned. That means he is above the local, the sukha, dukkha, or likes and dislikes. Whatever that comes with the prarabdha, accept as it is, as a part of the game of life, because he is reveling in that this is only nama rupa, the real part is only aham, which is Brahman. The substantive, that Brahman is I am, other things only superficial. So therefore, constant abhyasa, practice, will make that the vasanas get neutralized slowly. It may be a lifelong process, depending upon the maturity, the intensity of this of the vasanas or lack of vasanas. That's why in the Vidyaranya, in the Jivan Mukta Viveka, he classifies different jnanis, not based on the jnanam, but based on the remaining vasanas that they have. They can be classified. So one is approaching asymptotically. Asymptotic means slowly approaching that state where one has zero vasanas and so on. Because thermodynamically, you don't get zero. Thermodynamic means, suppose, like a simple example is, I can't get 100% the gold, pure gold, it's only 99.9999. I can keep on purifying, the nines keep shifting. There cannot be 100% because thermodynamically it's not possible. Same way, 99.99 or 100% purity of the mind is not possible as long as he has a body, mind and intellect. That's what it is. Now a doubt arises here, and we will take up that in the next sloka 85 after we come back. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari